In most professional sports, competitors usually wear their names proudly on the upper back portion of their jerseys, easily visible for any audience member to see. So why is it that in MotoGP, riders choose a very different place to put their name? On their butt. Many MotoGP riders have become known for their iconic butt patches, and the place has become prime real estate for riders to advertise their names and brands to millions of fans watching around the world. But why? What on earth led to riders plastering their names and logos on their asses, and why do fans love it so much? Well, in order to find out, we have to dive into the history of the butt patch. This is a serious video, I swear. Before we get started, two things. First of all, I need your help for a video. If you have a hot take about MotoGP, any of the riders, tracks, whatever, put it in the comments below. I also have a community post that I made recently. You can put it in the comments of that as well, and I will respond to what I think are the best and most interesting hot takes in a future video. I can't promise when it'll be, but it will come out, I swear. Second, and more importantly, most of the information in this video comes from a great ESPN article written by Austin Lindbergh. I've linked it in the description. Go check it out. It's a great read, and also convince ESPN to cover MotoGP more. It's a win-win. Now, if you're like me, your first thought was that riders use this space because of the front-facing rear onboard camera that's located on the tails of the bikes. This gives a prime view of a rider's butt because of the riding position that they're in, and therefore their name or their butt patch will be the first thing that you see. In actuality, we have to go back 50 years and to an entirely different discipline of motorcycle racing to find the origins of the butt patch. During the 1970s and 80s, motocross riders often had the fronts and the backs of their leathers or jerseys obscured by bibs. This blocked out valuable spaces where competitors would normally put their names. Instead, they had to look elsewhere. As such, riders took to stitching their names into the rear of their leathers, which was an unobscured location. For almost 2 decades, this was just simple stitching, usually block letters that just had a rider's name on it. However, in the late 80s, one rider branched out. This rider was motocross and supercross legend, Jeremy McGrath. McGrath's father had given him the nickname Showtime, and had chosen to emblazon that on his leathers as opposed to his last name. McGrath would go on to have a legendary career in motocross, supercross, and the freestyle motocross world. This is unrelated to the video, but when I was a kid, my dad had Steel Roots 2 by Jeremy McGrath on DVD, and like that part where he's like going through the beach, he's like riding through like these like tide pools, and Kryptonite by Three Doors Down is playing. Oh my, that like shaped my idea of what was cool so much. Like, it's such a good shot. You can find it on YouTube. I'll link it below. Like, you can go watch that video. It's amazing. Back to butt patches. Patches in general were nothing new to MotoGP. Riders had been putting patches onto their leathers for decades. Famously, Barry Sheene was forced to remove his "Happiness is a Tight Pussy" patch from his leathers in the 1970s. As advertising and sponsorships grew alongside the sport, more and more real estate on riders' leathers was taken up by sponsors. Eventually, even the helmets, which had always been the go-to for rider expression, were dominated by logos. The butt patch was the way of the future, but it would take 2 simultaneous occurrences for it to really take hold. First was the arrival of digital design. No longer did patches have to be handmade and sewn into leathers. Now, any number of complex and colorful designs could be made using computers and pressed using EVA foam into a rider's leathers. This gave birth to the first generation of really expressive patches like the ones we know today. And none was more iconic than Valentino Rossi's. Rossi cycled through a few nicknames on his leathers before settling on his now most famous one, the Doctor. His patch featured the nickname in bright, colorful letters sprawling across the rear end of his leathers. This patch is now perhaps the most iconic in MotoGP history. I don't think it's a stretch to just say that it is the most iconic. It is the most iconic in MotoGP history. And that's all thanks to the second occurrence that happened in the early 2000s, the aforementioned front-facing rear onboard camera. While patches weren't designed because of it, it absolutely skyrocketed their popularity. While they had been a way for riders to express themselves before, fans weren't exactly focusing on a rider's butt throughout a race. Until now. By the late 2000s, everyone was rocking a unique and personalized butt patch, and nowadays, it's the easiest way to identify a rider and get a little sense for their personality, even if you've never seen them off the track. Today, every rider on the grid uses a custom butt patch, many of which are very unique and out there in design. Some of my personal favorites are Enea Bastianini's Bestia patch, Quartararo's El Diablo patch, and Marc Marquez's patch that's like, it's just his last name, but the first three letters and half of the Q were highlighted to make it look like it's Marc Marquez. That's just such a clean design. Like, it's such a good idea. Whoever came up with that, just chef's kiss. Fabio Quartararo, rocking the iconic El Diablo patch mentioned before, has said that, quote, "For the image of the riders, the butt patch is important, but not really for the sponsor. I think this is pretty nice from every team to leave this space for the rider to show off a little bit of their personality." Really though, how many sponsors would want to be known for being plastered on a rider's rear end? Nowadays, the butt patch is so ubiquitous in two-wheeled racing that there's companies that offer custom butt patches to anyone who wants one for their own personal set of leathers. And the MotoGP video game even allows users to choose a custom butt patch for their own character. Personally, I'm rocking the Time Lord butt patch. It's the best one. The butt patch may have started in motocross. However, it spread into MotoGP as one of the premier forms of rider expression, and a wonderful way for fans to identify riders who are wearing similar or the same leathers. Pioneered by Jeremy McGrath and popularized in MotoGP by Valentino Rossi, this is a wonderful form of expression that is a weird little unique thing to motorcycle racing, and might be a little tough to explain to new fans. Regardless, we all love it. It's one of the weird things that gives the sport personality and makes it all the more enjoyable to fans. And really, that's all that matters. Well, that's the history of the butt patch, and probably the most I've ever said the word butt seriously in like 10 minutes, so that's pretty cool. I forgot to turn my fan off. Oh no. Oh no, this is gonna sound bad. Well, regardless, I'll get it figured out. I know it was a bit of a shorter one this week, but I've got midterms going on, so I'm just very glad that I found the time to record one at all. I didn't think I'd be able to. Shout out again to Austin Lindbergh for writing the fantastic article that gave me most of the information for this video. Go check that out. And shout out to you all for getting me to 1,000 subscribers. I was below 1,000 last time I recorded a video. You guys keep subscribing, and I'm like super late to every milestone because I record videos weekly. So like a week ago, like last time I recorded, I wasn't even at 1,000 yet. And now I'm at like 1,200 when I'm recording this. And I'm sure it'll be higher by the time this video actually comes out. You guys are amazing. I'm a YouTube partner now, which is like so cool. So hopefully I can start making some money and then, you know, maybe swap out this USB for an XLR, whatever. I know nothing about audio. I really don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, that's enough yapping from me. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. I plan on making more content like this. I've got videos in the pipeline, and yeah, if you've got hot takes and you want me to react to or talk about them, leave them in the comments below. Be nice to each other, by the way. Don't be rude to each other about the hot takes. That's my job. It's my job to be rude to you about your hot takes. All right? I might flame you a little bit, okay? If you leave something ridiculous, I might have to laugh at it, okay? So just, that's a fair warning. Okay, I've yapped for so long now. All right, you know what? Most importantly, have a fantastic day.